Hi guys, I'm Matt. Welcome back to my kitchen. Several months ago, I had the opportunity to produce a video with the Joe Sasto where he made donuts in 15 minutes using biscuit dough. I thought this was a super creative way of not following the package instructions. As a fun challenge, Kelly and I tried to come up with as many unique ways of cooking with the biscuit dough without using an oven. Here's how you can microwave, pan fry, steam, boil, grill, and deep fry biscuit dough. Let's do it. We're going to start by using the microwave to make pizza in a mug. While this recipe may only fit the loose definition of pizza, it's really, really good, and it's probably the easiest recipe I'm gonna show you today. Come on. Woo! Not too bad. I'm going to take one biscuit and place it inside a microwave-safe mug, and I'm gonna microwave this for about 30 seconds until it puffs up. So as you can see, it's risen just a little bit. And bring in my marinara sauce, and we're just gonna bring it to the next level. We're gonna zhuzh it a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder and just a little bit of dried basil. And I'm just gonna spoon this sauce right on top. There we go. And of course, no pizza is complete without its toppings, so I'm going to add a little bit of shredded mozzarella and some mini pepperoni. And I actually like to place them in the middle because as this microwaves, it's going to expand and they're gonna kind of move to the outside. Before we throw this back in the microwave, get something like a paper towel, just drape it over the top and throw it in there for about 30 to 45 seconds and you should be done. Aha! And there you have it. Look at that. The pepperonis have curled up all nicely. I'm just gonna garnish this with a little bit more dried basil. You may think you're done. You're not. You know how hot regular pizza is? This is a whole mug of it. It will burn your mouth. Let it sit for like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, or not. Whew. This recipe is so good for how shockingly easy it is. You should try this, but if you think this looks good, wait until the next recipe. This next method involves pan frying to make peanut butter and jelly fritters. I like these because they're super versatile. You can use them as breakfast, lunch, a snack, dinner, dessert, whatever you want. These are sort of like homemade Uncrustables, except they're entirely surrounded by crust. Crustables. Now to get started, I'm actually going to flour my work surface a little bit, just so that my biscuit dough doesn't stick. I'm going to take 2 biscuits, roll these out until they're nice and thin and about 5 inches in diameter. I'm going to add peanut butter to one, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the jelly. Take a little bit of water and apply it to the outsides of the dough, and this is going to help make the seal that we use to keep all of our toppings inside. So now it's time to very gently put our sides together. I'm gonna go with the peanut butter one because I find the peanut butter is thicker and doesn't run as much as the jelly would. I'm just going to drop these two on each other. Look at that. And you really wanna seal this bad boy up because if you don't, it will leak and you'll get jelly all over your pan and you'll have to make another one, and we don't want that. And I'm just going to punch out my little PB&J fritter. I'm using a biscuit cutter here. You can use a cup, just anything that's big enough to cut all the way around. Wow, look at that. Pop it in the fridge for about 30 minutes. This is just really gonna let the seal come together. My pan has been heated over medium-low heat. Just adding a little bit of ghee. And the reason you should use ghee for this is there's a chance it can burn and ghee has a higher smoke point. And just place it right down in my pan. Don't touch this, just let it go for about 4 to 5 minutes. I can tell it's nice and brown on the bottom because the edges are toasted, which means it's time to flip. And wow. Just repeat what you did with the last step. Let it go for about 3 to 4 more minutes. And that, my friends, is a peanut butter and jelly fritter. Before I dig in, I do want to elevate it a little bit. I'm adding a little bit of powdered sugar. This is totally optional. Cut this guy in half. Let's see what this guy is all about. These are a nice treat. They're crunchy on the outside, they're nice and fluffy on the inside. They're gooey towards the middle where the peanut butter and the jelly kind of ooze out. These are great as a snack or can be enjoyed any time of day. These first 2 recipes have been great, but for number 3, we're thinking a little bit out of the box. We're at the halfway point, so we're going to be using a steamer to make biscuit bao buns. I used to live next to a shop that sold bao buns, and they are literally the best thing. I would go all of the time. Rather than using regular biscuit dough, this is actually the flaky variety, and that's what works with this recipe. And I'm just going to flatten these out a little bit, maybe about 4 inches or so across. And this next step is optional, but just because I like things to be uniform when I'm cooking, I'm actually going to use a glass here to kind of punch out a shape. I'm just going to add a little bit of cooking spray, fold each one of my biscuits in half. And there you have it, 4 biscuit bao buns. That's a tongue twister, ready to go. My heat is cranked to medium high. I have a pot of water here coming to a boil. Over it, I have my steaming basket. So let's see if we're ready. and I'm going to layer in my bows. And this is gonna go for about 5 to 7 minutes until nice and puffy. Watch for steam. Oh my goodness, look at how puffy. Delicately remove from the heat. After a few minutes, your buns are going to start to settle a little bit. Don't let them sit for too long because when they deflate all the way, they're really no good. You can fill them with whatever you'd like. I'm going to be filling mine with an assortment of pickled vegetables, pork belly, some cilantro, and mint. And there you are, biscuit bao buns. Now, it's not exactly like authentic bao. It doesn't have the same taste. It's a little bit more buttery. It works so well. The bun is so light and fluffy. It holds everything so perfectly. I really, really encourage you to try this. It's time to boil our dough to make mini pretzel bites. These are a super fun little snack. You can dunk it into whatever you want. They're great for a party. They're great for kids. They're just really fun. To get started, much like with the last recipe, we're going to be using flaky biscuits for this. Cut them into 4 equal-ish pieces. And once your biscuits are nice and cut up, you're just gonna roll them into little balls, just like that. So I have here a pot of boiling water, boom. To which I'm going to add about ½ a cup of baking soda. Bubble, bubble, toil, and trouble. Cool. So now that those are combined, the next couple steps happen pretty quickly. I'm going to take my biscuits and just add them. And I'm just gonna let those go for about 30 seconds. And then once they are floating, pull them off and add to a parchment-lined sheet. I'm bending the rules just a little bit at this point. Instead of just boiling these, I'm actually gonna throw them in the air fryer here to get them nice and brown and crisp on the outside. But before that, I'm going to top my little dough balls with some butter and salt. I'm gonna throw these in my air fryer for about 5 to 7 minutes until they're done. Ho ho, baby. Look at them. Oh no! It's okay, we'll forget about you. And there they are. Biscuit dough pretzel bites. You can serve them with whatever you want. I'm actually gonna go with nacho cheese. These are really good. They're ever so crunchy on the outside. They're super light and fluffy on the inside. These are so much fun. They're so easy to make and I hope you try them. But now, let's get a bit complicated to move on to number 5. We're going to heat things up a little bit on the grill in order to make cheeseburger bombs. This is what happens when you take everything wonderful about a cheeseburger and shrink it down into a nice, almost bite-sized piece. My pan is heated over medium-high heat. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, then my ground beef, hamburger seasoning, and a little bit of salt. And I'm going to let this go for about 5 to 7 minutes until everything is nice and browned. I've drained off a little bit of the excess fat, not all of it, which means it's time to add my Dijon, a little bit of Worcestershire, and finally, water. Bring all of this together. Ooh, it smells so good. At this point, the mixture is pretty much done. I'm going to bring it to a boil and reduce to about halfway. I'm just dusting my work surface with a little bit of bench flour. Take one of your regular biscuits, a little bit more flour, and I'm just gonna roll this out until it's about 5 inches around. Take 2 pieces of your American cheese and place them in the center, and then top it with about 3 tablespoons of your ground beef filling. Take all of the edges of your biscuit, bring them up together, make sure none of your filling is poking out, and then pinch it into a nice little seam. And there you are, that's a cheeseburger bomb. I'm gonna set this aside, seam side down, and then finish up with my remaining cheeseburger bombs. Before we move outside to grill these, there's a couple things we have to do. First, I'm going to apply an egg wash to the top of all of my cheeseburger bombs. And then I'm going to top everything with sesame seeds. And I'm just gonna let these go for about 20 to 25 minutes until they're done. Look at how beautiful they are. Not to toot my own horn. Look at that. These look fantastic. Let's see, itty meeny you and you. Look at that. Your biscuit, you got your hamburger meat, the cheese on top allows it to melt down and kind of cover everything. Bon appetit. These are just really good. They read exactly like a burger. You've got the beef, you've got the cheese, you've got the ketchup, you've got the bun. You even got the sesame seeds on top. If a cheeseburger and a dumpling came together and had a beautiful baby, it would be the cheeseburger bomb. We're wrapping things up today by deep frying in order to make deep fried frozen ice cream. There's no better way than to end things on a sweet note, and this is a really fun, cool, crunchy way of doing that. At least 4 hours before you do anything, you want to pop your ice cream balls in the freezer just to make sure they're frozen solid so they don't melt while you're working with them. In order to make all of them nice and uniform, I just took a cookie scoop like this and divided each portion in half. Toss this back in the freezer until you're ready to actually start forming them. Take 6 biscuits and cut each of them in half. And then roll those out as thinly and uniformly as possible. Be careful not to tear the dough or to let it stick in any way, because if you form any holes in your ice cream, it's gonna leak out while you fry it. In order to shape the ice cream balls, you need to work really quickly. Take one piece of dough, and my advice for handling the ice cream, actually use chopsticks or a cold spoon. That way you're minimizing that hot contact. Place your ice cream in the middle, and then fold all the edges up. And you wanna make sure that there's no gaps, no nothing, no leakage. And there you are. Just repeat with the remaining balls. And these are our 12 perfect little ice cream balls. These need to sit in the freezer for an additional 1 to 2 hours just to firm everything up. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is it's time to fry our ice cream. The bad news is we still have a couple hours to go before we can actually try it. My pot of oil is heated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and working in batches, I'll add about 4 frozen ice cream balls at a time. These are going to cook in the pot for about 2 to 3 minutes until they're nice and golden brown on the outside. And once they're nice and brown, just place them on a paper towel lined baking sheet to let them drain. Now, I said there was bad news, and that's because there's one more phase of waiting. These need to go back in the freezer for an additional hour so they can firm up again. Oh my goodness, I was beginning to think we wouldn't get here. Now, you can top it with whatever you want. I'm gonna go with the classic chocolate syrup, whipped cream, and sprinkles. You know something's good when you can't even muster the words to kind of talk while you're chewing it? It's perfectly crunchy on the outside, but then you have the nice, soft, cool ice cream on the inside. It takes a lot of time, but if someone gave me this, oof, I would be impressed. Today, I showed you 6 ways of using canned biscuit dough that don't follow the baking instructions on the package. We microwaved it to make a mug pizza, pan-fried it to make PB&J fritters, steamed it to make biscuit buns, boiled it to make mini pretzel bites, grilled it to make cheeseburger bombs, and finally, deep-fried it to make deep-fried frozen ice cream. Let me know which one is your favorite, or if you have another creative use for biscuit dough, let me know in the comments below, or message me on Instagram. And until then, take care, my friends.
Oh, yes!